So what you're looking at here is Subbly's dashboard, and this is an overview of the content you've uploaded and some of the actions that you've taken with it. So have you generated captions? Have you run an accessibility report? And based on that, what level does it currently stand at? And so on. So this is just a nice brief overview of your content and what you've done. The first point is you're going to want to come and upload content. So here you can drag and drop, you can search from your computer, and then you select your files and upload them. You can also upload, if you already have a caption file for the video, you can upload it here with that, and it makes sure that we can assess both for you. Once it's uploaded, then you simply press Analyze Accessibility here, and that is going to generate the report. So when you hit that button, Subbly gets to work scanning your video frame by frame, and it does 11 different checks. These checks cover everything from colour contrast issues. Are there any essential images that are not described in the audio? Is there any flashing content or fast transitions that could impact someone, and so on? So we run all of these checks for you and create you a nice report so that you can see where you're going, where you're doing really well, and also where you need to improve with your content. So we break it out in both ways. So once your analysis is finished, you'd press View Analysis, and here's the report that you've given. So you can see my file needs a bit of attention. It's passed 6 out of the 11 checks, but there are things that are missing. And you can see it tells you here, where did it pass, what things were fine. And then you go down and you can see where it failed. So there's an issue with captions, and it's the colour contrast of those captions. Now, as you can see, this results section is split into two. This first section is focused purely on WCAG level AA. So these are things that are noted in the legislation that need to be followed. Down here is what we refer to as best practice. So these are things that are not necessarily in the legislation, but things that you should focus on and take a look at and keep in mind if you're trying to make your content truly accessible. So once you've seen the overview and it's told you where some of the errors are, you can scroll down into the second section of the report, which is detailed results. And this is where it gives you more information and lets you know what's not working. It will also go as detailed as to give you timestamps to look at and things like that. So you can even press show more issues and it will list out the timestamps and tell you what's happening. So this is the detail section and you can go through this. At the bottom here this is where we describe some of the terms we use. So it could be that somebody new is looking at this report and accessibility has not been in their remit before, or video accessibility is not something they've focused on. So we use this area to help with educating people. So it's explaining what are we looking at and why, but also explaining some of the terminology we use and what that means as well. So the report is here to both guide and educate people. So now we understand that this video needs a little bit more work, we can come out of the report and go straight into Subbly's editor. And here you get to see your video here on the side as a preview, and then if you look down the right hand side, obviously you'll see the different ways in which we can support you, captions, transcripts and so on. And I'm just going to briefly take you through this. So if you hadn't uploaded captions with your video, there would be a big button on the screen now saying generate your captions, and we can do that for you. But we know that the captions have been flagged because there's a colour contrast issue. So what we can do is come into the style section here. You can see it saying non-compliant, and here's the text colours that we've got. So we've currently got white text on a grey background. Now the colour contrast checks will happen in real time. So if I select black on white now, it's letting me know that that colour contrast really stands out. If I change it again, it will automatically say, no, this isn't working. So you can make all of those changes, and then there's lots of other things you can do in our styling section, from changing the font, the position on screen, and so on. If we go back into the captions as well, you can very easily make edits in here. So if you want to move things around, for example, if we've got this one word on a line here, we might say, actually, no, let's pop that into the caption above. And you can make lots of edits. So it's very simple, easy to use, and helps you understand. Down this side is CPL. So this is telling you how many characters you've got per line. There are guidelines out there for keeping these shorter than this, so this is just here for you to keep it at front of mind. Again, these are an advisory, not listed in the WCAG, but might be something you want to focus on. The next thing that I want to show you is what we refer to as language accuracy. Now, that doesn't mean how accurate the spoken word is. It's about looking at metadata in this caption file, is it going to be able to tell a screen reader what language is being spoken? Now, if you often use VTTs for captions, in the metadata, languages are automatically captured in there. But if you're using SRTs, it doesn't hold the same level of metadata, in which case the languages aren't there. So we've made sure that if there is either, as you can see in this video, it goes from French into English, we've made sure that you can flag that within the video in order to make sure that the SRT is making this clear as well. So if I highlight on this section here, you can see it's come up with a new menu, and we can press here, set language. So we can go in and we know this is French. So if we click there, and now you can see it lets the audience know that this is French. And I can do the same again if I wish to in this line here, and let people know that this bit is also spoken in French. And it just lets people know that there's a change in language. So if the majority of the video is English, but you've got a few words that are in another language, you can make sure you flag this to be really clear to the audience. And that's what we mean by language accuracy. We also offer full transcriptions. So as you can see, a transcript is just this spoken word, and it's obviously not broken out into caption files. Caption cues. Often people will download the transcription to help look at, use it for blogs or posting with it to help with SEO and so on. But it's available here, and you've got that. One of the most important, newest features in Subbly is the descriptive transcript. So if, for example, you've got a video with lots of images happening in the background, excuse me, that aren't explained, you may want to make sure that your audience understands what's happening. And as Holly mentioned, this is great for those who are blind or have low vision, to be able to have a screen reader read out what is being seen on the screen at the time to help with the context. So again, this is done. If it wasn't available already in here, there'd be a button where you can hit it and say, create the descriptive transcript and merge it with the captions. So you can see here now that it's explaining who's on the screen and speaking. If we then come down to another section in the video, you can see here, we've got the video now switches to an interface, and this is explaining what is being seen on the screen. And again, it's just there to help people understand the context. Now, a lot of people have been using descriptive transcripts at the moment as a substitution for audio description, because one, it can be read by a screen reader, and then you're not having to record the voiceover. So that's a lot of ways in which organisations have been doing it. It's also great for things like product demonstrations and so on, where there's often less speaking as well, and more about what's actually visually happening on screen. So we can create these, and you can download it again in multiple formats to work with your content. But it just means that screen readers are able to read this out to audiences and really help them understand what's happening. We then come to audio description. Now, at the moment, as you can see, this is a request button. We are in the process of building automated audio description, where we will write the script, embed it with the captions to make sure there's no overlap. You'll then have the option to pick your AI voiceover for recording the script, and then embed it into your content. We're due to release this around mid-October time, so I would be happy if anybody's particularly interested in audio description. I'd be happy to share more about this as that gets released in the future. You can then come to things like we can automatically create summaries. So if we go summarize this video, you can do it in bullet points or a paragraph. you simply just hit generate, let Subly do its thing, and it will just create you a short summary of this video. Often people use these summaries to put it on as a video description, or you can use it if it's an internal piece of content and you want to summarize it. You can even summarize it into bullet points to pull out key actions and so on. There's lots of ways in which people use summaries, but it's there just to make your life a little bit easier. So they're the key things that we do and how we help. And like I say, each one of these things is focused on improving accessibility in multiple different ways. The last thing is, because Subly can work, we can work across different platforms. So we help you do all of these things with your video, and then it's about you bringing it out of Subly in order to distribute it. So once you're happy and you've created everything you want to, you can come into Subly and download it. You can pick multiple languages, so we actually do offer full translations in Subly as well. We offer 255 different languages. I'll just actually quickly show you that. So let's imagine you've already created your captions in Subly, but now you would like this in a different language. We can come in and say, oops, excuse my spelling, there we go. Translate this into French, hit translate, and the Subly will now match the timestamps and do a full translation of these captions for you as well. And you can translate into as many languages as you like. Like I say, we have 200, I believe it's 255 in total that you can choose from in order to create your translations. But once you've got them, they sit here side by side, so that one, you get to see them, what do they look like on the video, but two, you get to compare them and do a bit of a QA against the original captions as well. So I'll just leave that running a second while we do this. But again, if I come back to the download button, so if you've got multiple languages, it would say here your media languages, and it would list them all. So you can select the languages that you want to download. You can then come in and we've got, here's the different file types that you might need for your caption file. So most platforms use SRT, VTT and so on. So let's imagine we pick SRT for that. We might not need the transcription, but I might want an SRT of the descriptive transcript, for example. And then if I wanted to, you can burn the captions into the video as open captions if you don't already have them. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing that because open captions can't be read by screen readers. However, if it is something that you want to do, people often use that for social media and so on, then it is available to you. So you could say, give me the video and then download it with the captions embedded, for example. And then literally you simply hit download and all of that is available to you to then use on other platforms. So you can then upload your video with multiple caption files, a descriptive transcript file, and so on. And yeah, all of this is there to support you. Like I say, I would have loved to have showed you audio description, but fingers crossed that will be out soon and something we can definitely share. But I hope this just gives you an idea of how we're supporting people and making the process of checking accessibility a little bit simpler, because we all know that it's an awful lot of work for a human to sit and watch a video and spot all the things that could potentially be wrong. The human eye can miss certain things, whereas Subly is all about creating a set of objective tests, and every video is going through the same scrutiny to understand where it needs to be improved and how well you're doing already. So yeah,